What's up, y'all? It's been a while. Oh, we in it, ain't we? And that's okay, right? It's okay that we're in it. And the key is, can we be in it together rather than against each other? I am jumping on here because I was listening to two of my dear beloveds, Adrienne Marie Brown and Malkia Devich Sorrell. And I'm still not certain what I have to add to this current political moment. It doesn't feel like the direction of my heart in this moment. But I do think I have some ideas that I believe can help guide us individually toward greater alignment. And I want to share it by sharing a little anecdote about my own journey. If you've been following along at home, then you may have heard me say at some point that I am a 6th placement Scorpio. I'm a Scorpio Sun. I am a Scorpio Mars, Scorpio Mercury, Scorpio Uranus, Scorpio North Node, Scorpio Midheaven. I am here for Scorpio. And one of the hallmark energies of Scorpio energy is death and rebirth. We are represented in the tarot by the death card. We are an energy that dies and rises and dies and rises, right? If you listened to my Don't Change a Thing episode for Style Like You last week, then you heard me tell the story of my 2020 and when my life blew up and everything changed. And it sent me in a totally new direction, and all of the illusions and fears that I had built my life on could not withstand anymore. They were done. After that happened, one of the things that I said I was going to do, I said I was going to go on a Don't Be Like Me tour. And what I was talking about was like, what are the things that you can intervene in your life now so that life doesn't have to blow up on you? When your oil change light comes on, you change the oil. And those of us who have not, and I say those of us because I certainly have, not changed the oil when the change oil light went on, and kicked the can down the road and kicked the can down the road and kicked the can down the road, know that at some point what happens is the oil in your car dissipates and then your engine locks and then you have to replace the engine. And so what was a $70 thing is now a $10,000 thing. The cough that you didn't pay attention to when it started is now pneumonia and you're in the hospital. Right? That's what happens when we get an indication that something is not aligned and we opt not to tend to it at the moment. And then the circumstances to reverse the impact of that are far, far greater later. There were so many pieces of evidence in my life making it clear that I was betraying myself, ignoring my intuition, choosing comfort over nourishment. I got it from a meditation practice that I did. And comfort is what is easy, and nourishment is what is good for you. And sometimes what is nourishing is not necessarily comforting. Sometimes they can be the same, but nourishment is a whole system well-beingness, and comfort satiates the immediate, satisfies one element of it for the moment. And so anyway, I had a pattern of doing that, and change for me required calamity because I wouldn't listen to the small things. I wouldn't listen to the small nudges. I would ignore the small nudges because they weren't comfortable, because they weren't convenient. It meant that I would have to sacrifice something I didn't want to sacrifice. It meant that I would have to trust in something rather than control it. It meant all sorts of things that I didn't want to do. And so life was like, well then, okay, I guess we have to learn the hard way, Sonya. And what I want to say right now in this particular social and political moment is that we are a nation who is really hard-headed. And I want us to relax the instinct for individualization, for the instinct to be like, but not me. And I want you to lean into the who am I as part of the whole? Because the reality is, no matter how antagonistic and heinous the United States has been to me, I am indoctrinated into its ideas because I've been raised and stewed in this pot. And we all are. And so it's important not to make ourselves the exception as I'm talking, but to allow ourselves and invite in the possibility that in this case, we have a collective identity. The nation, even the people who you most disagree with in this nation, we have a collective identity and a collective orientation to how it is that we understand things and move. We are a nation of extremes. We operate in extremes. We like extreme sports. We like extreme sounds. We like extreme lights. We like extreme music. We like extreme flavors. We like extreme commercials. We like spectacle and extremes. It is the collective identity of the U.S. That orientation towards extremes means that before we shift, we require extreme circumstances. That is what it is that we respond to. Something has to be outrageous, and then we will shift. But even then, when we shift, we often shift toward reaffirming our sense of security and safety. We do something extreme in response to double down on our sense of security and safety. And that is how a political figure like Trump could come to rise in this moment, because the times and experiences feel extreme. And so who is the person offering to do something extreme to reaffirm our sense of security? And then when Americans feel secure again, we go back to complacency. We go back to comfort over nourishment. And this is the political moment that we are in right now. Because what we could do is choose extremes that we will then have to fight against to try to regain our sense of security. Or we could choose not extremes. But the problem with choosing the thing that is not extreme is then we are lulled back into comfort and complacency. And so then we get comfortable again until it requires extremes again. That is the political cycle that we have been in all of modern political history. I don't think we have to learn through extremes. My prayer every day in my own life is I no longer have to learn through suffering. Life, you do not have to pry from my hands that which it is time to let go of. We are in a political moment where part of what is on the ballot is the invitation to either learn through extremes or to try and allow ourselves to come back to some sense of security and comfort. I'm offering that neither of those are the answer. No matter how this election turns out, the invitation is to stop having those choices be the only choices. And again, I'm not talking at the level of like partisanship. I'm not talking about politics. I'm talking about how your soul moves. I'm talking about what does it take for you to get the lessons for your life such that your life no longer has to catapult you into calamity or try to awaken you from your panacea of comfort. How do we not make a vote that puts us back to sleep so that we then have to be brutally awakened later? Or how do we not choose that it is calamity that we must learn from? It's not even a whisper anymore. It's evident. These systems don't work anymore. And what is offered inside of our current political structure is the invitation to go back to sleep. The invitation to be comfortable enough to have your nervous system calm. Like, I just want to go to work. I just want to pay my bills. Like, this is the thing that we talk about as Americans, right? I just want to pay my bills. I just want to go to work. I just want to have an easy life. And that we have been voting for that existence. That existence isn't on the table anymore. That existence is incongruent with truth, because truth is transformation. Octavia told us, everything you touch, you change. Everything you change changes you. The only constant is change. God is change. You cannot have the easy, predictable life it is that you want. It does not exist. You were not born into that time. You were born into this time. A time of constant change, a time of deep turmoil and tumult. And the question is, will you rise to the occasion in your own life, or will you wait for life to catapult you into calamity and force you to change? That is the moment we're in. And the direction of this election will indicate what it is that we choose. You can go choicefully into change, or you can go violently into change. But you will change. We can decide as a collective that we don't want to learn the hard way anymore, but that we are willing to learn. I hope we do.